Everybody, welcome back to Shadow Stitch TCG, and today we are going to be going over the team that I drafted for the League of Extraordinary Trainers Season 7 Rising Stars Single Strike Division. Yeah, that's a mouthful. So anyway, the League of Extraordinary Trainers is a draft league that I joined last season, taking over another player's team, and they graciously allowed me to stay in for the next season, and so yeah, this is really cool. So it is a Wi-Fi draft league, which is really cool. I do enjoy playing Wi-Fi significantly more than Showdown. Of course, I love the BBL, and I love helping run that league. But I keep saying it. So maybe someday I'll be able to run my own Wi-Fi draft league as well. And I just. It's a lot more immersive. I mean, nobody can really argue about that. So, that's why I like Draft League, Wi-Fi Draft, and I'm super thankful that the LET allowed me back in this season, and So anyway, that's pretty much about it. So this draft was pretty damn stressful. Honestly, we had 12 coaches. Yeah, let's just put it that way. So we had 12 coaches, and across varying different time zones. Some in Europe and some like on the West Coast, USA, and stuff like that. So we had a lot of different time zones, and it took a lot longer than I think we expected. But it's okay. It's okay though. It's over now, more or less. So I'm happy. Yes, I'm excited to get going with this. But anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and just get right into the rules. So just a quick rules overview. We had 1,020 total points to use. So we had to draft a pick from A, B, C, D, E, and F tier. F tier was essentially all just a bunch of NFEs and pre-evolution Pokemon. So, and they cost about like 20 points. So we can only draft one S tier if we chose to draft an S tier, and we could only draft 2 F tiers. We couldn't go crazy with like top end picks and stuff like that. No Dynamax, no Gigantamax, very good. Dry Baton Pass only, which, if you don't know what Dry Pass is, it's basically you can still use Baton Pass as like a U-turning move or something like that, but you can never pass a stat or a substitute with it. I'm pretty sure you can pass like Ingrain or something like that. It doesn't say anything specifically about that in the rules, but I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to. All standard Smogon clauses, like Sleep Clause, Species Clause, Endless Battle Clause, all those standard Smogon clauses that you'd expect. And then we are playing on Wi-Fi over LAN play. So LAN play is a very interesting way to play the game. So if you don't know, the way that the normal game allows you to play over Wi-Fi is you have a 20-minute total timer, and that includes animations and everything. The way that we get around that is we play with LAN play, and so that gives each player a 10-minute, essentially a chess timer. So we have 10 minutes to make all of our selections over the total course of a game, and that's really good. That's the way. It's not perfect, but that is the way that we have to do it. And also, something amazing with the LET, they have invested in their own server. So we don't actually have to really use any like random server. We get to use their own server, and what we did last season, it ran so smoothly. And if I can give props to anything to the LET mods, is that's an incredible investment, and I respect you a lot for that. So So a few things I didn't really like about this is I did not like being forced to draft an F tier. I mean, sure, it in Eco's words, it kind of provided some extra and a bit of challenge, but like it kind of was like to me. I also felt like maybe the points were a tiny bit too low. Maybe even like an extra 20 or 40 points would have been nice, to help balance out some teams and make, teams just a little bit better. I mean, you are drafting Pokemon to play and have fun. You should probably feel good about any team that you make. But of course, no draft is perfect, as I should know. Even like now, like I look through the tier list that Majin and I made for the BBL, and we're like, why the hell did we freaking put this thing in this tier? And so like I still have mad respect, especially for these the LET, because we have 36 total coaches going on this season. So we have the Veterans Conference, which is 12 coaches, and then we have 2 Rising Stars Conference, the Single Strike and the Rapid Strike division. And of course, I am in the Single Strike. So, anyway, so of course, no draft can be perfect. If you say it can, then you're just absolutely insane and you have no idea what you're talking about. So anyway, all the complaining I did during the draft, I'm sorry in post, but yeah. So anyway, that's enough about all that stuff. I hope you guys are enjoying all the Draft League content recently. I know it's been a lot. Don't worry, we will be getting back to Pokemon TCG once Darkness Ablaze comes out and everything, if you are watching that stuff. But anyway, let's just get into it. So first pick of my draft. So by the way, I was also the wheel pick. I was the 12th pick of the draft. So that means that in a snake type draft, that means that when it comes all the way down to the bottom, it hits me, and then I essentially get to pick 2 Pokemon at the same time. And I was able to, so it's a very interesting position that I've never actually been in. And when you're a wheel pick, it's pretty cool because like you're actually able to get like strong cores and stuff like that. But the downside is, of course, you have a lot of opportunities to get sniped. Because, you have, in this case, 22 picks before your next pick. But I picked up Excadrill for my first pick. For 200 points, it was an S tier. I did not have to draft in S tier, of course, but Excadrill is a Pokemon that I love. It is a Pokemon that I have always wanted to use in Draft League, and just never got around to it. But you know what? I saw my opportunity this time. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get Excadrill, and of course, with my wheel pick, yes, this was like super early, and I honestly kind of regretted it at the time. But we also picked up Gigalith, our C tier, for 80 points. So we are already at 280 points with the Gigalith and the Excadrill, but we have an incredibly strong sand core, and I'm pretty happy about that. So I'm very happy with Gigalith. It is a lower tier sand setter. Hippowdon, it's no Hippowdon, it's no Tyranitar, but this thing has 130 base defense. It still hits pretty damn hard. It is a pure rock type, so it doesn't have the extra weaknesses that like Tyranitar has. And it's just a good mon, and could potentially be a good like assault vest user and stuff like that. I like Gigalith a lot. Even before it got Sandstream, I thought it was a pretty decent Pokemon. And it also still has useful abilities like Sturdy and stuff like that. So, yeah, Gigalith, great Pokemon. Alright, so next we had 22 picks to go up and down, and amazingly, nothing of mine that I wanted got sniped. So next up, we picked up Slowbro for our B tier for 120 points. So Slowbro is awesome, gives us a great fighting resistance, which both of our Pokemon already are weak to. Gives us also a great water resistance that again both of our Pokemon are weak to. So already patching up some good weaknesses here, which is awesome. All right, now the next pick is actually a kind of a special case. So we kind of have an asterisk next to this. So the way that we're allowed to do is at the end of the draft, we are able to pick up, make one free agent transaction. So what I decided to do is I originally drafted Tangrowth. However, the A tier that I wanted, which we will get to later, did unfortunately get sniped for me. And that was like really the only big snipe. So unfortunately, I did have to swap out Tangrowth. And we are swapping out Tangrowth for Amoonguss. And it's 20 less points than Tangrowth, but it also gives us our grounded poison, gives us still a grass type, and still gives us that regenerator core with the Slowbro. So yeah, I am fine with Amoonguss. If I had picked up Amoonguss from the start, then I would have been fine with it as well. But I'm a little upset that I didn't get to keep Tangrowth, but I do still have Tangela in the BBL, so I'll be okay. Yeah, I kind of like Tangrowth a little bit more. I don't really like Amoonguss particularly as a Pokemon, but that's okay. Also, I did just get a shiny event Amoonguss that I can use, so that's kind of cool, because of course this is Draft League, so be sure to go get your free shiny event Amoonguss. Yeah, that's a thing. So yeah, Amoonguss, great mon though still. Obviously gets Spore, got useful resistances already. The only thing that I don't really like about it is, of course, we did end up with an extra mon that we lost our ground resistance, essentially. That's what I'm trying to say. So Amoonguss, of course, being part poison. So all right, but anyway, enough about that. Another 22 picks up and down. And it comes back to us, and we grab Vikavolt for our D tier. Vikavolt is an extremely powerful Pokemon that I really liked picking up. So I wanted to get me a decent electric type. I wanted to branch out and get something a little bit different than what I usually get. Usually I'll get like a Rotom or something like that. I kind of like Rotom. Yeah, and there was some decent Rotoms. I could have got like Rotom Fan or something like that. But I decided I wanted Vikavolt. And not only does Vikavolt hit like insanely hard, way harder than a Rotom could, but has good extra stabs as well with the Bug Buzz and stuff like that. But it also gets Sticky Web, and Sticky Web is insane really in singles as a whole. So yeah, Sticky Web is fantastic. So it is just an extra added layer that it forces my opponent to prep for. Because if I choose to bring Sticky Web, then that's really freaking scary for them. And they have to prepare that for. Especially because everybody applaud because we picked up the mascot pick herself, Chandelure. The first time in my Draft League career picking up the mascot pick in Chandelure, and I am 100% fine with this. This is a amazing pickup. It gives us a spin blocker. It gives us an amazingly strong fire type. It gives us something that can take advantage of Sticky Webs or potentially set up Trick Room for some of our slower mons. This mon just is a great glue that kind of fits everything together. And of course, it's Chandelure. It's the best freaking... It's like the best mon. I love it. And it was sitting at 100 points in C tier. And I'm like, I need a good fire type. I have a fire and water. Yeah, I have a water and a grass. I need a good fire type. And I looked at the C tier. I'm like, yes. Yes. 100%. We got my girl Chandelure. I am so happy that we got Chandelure. And, yeah, this is gonna be fun, and I'm super happy about this. So we can run Scarf, we can run Specs, we can run Subcom Mind, we can take advantage of that Sticky Web, we can potentially run Trick Room. Oh my god, we have so many options with this mon on this team, and it's mascot big, it's Chandelure, it's Shandy baby, come on, yeah, gotta love it. Next up, though, 22 picks up and down, we come back down, we get our A tier, which is Weavile. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about the pick that did get sniped from me. So what I wanted to do for my A tier is I really wanted to get Scolipede. Not only have I not used Scolipede a lot before, I needed a grounded poison still at that point. Scolipede would have given me that. Also would have given me toxic spikes and spikes, which is really good. And just a good speed tier in general. Now, I would have ended up having to get a lower tier dark type, potentially, like Liepard or something like that. But that's okay. I was fine with getting Scolipede and getting a lower tier dark type. However, Scolipede got sniped by the only person that could have sniped me from Scolipede. So instead, I switched gears and I picked up Weavile. Weavile was a little bit more expensive. Scolipede was 160 points, so Weavile was 180. So we did end up having to use those late free agent transactions that I talked about earlier to change the things up. So, like I said, we originally had Tangrowth. Now we got to get another grounded poison, so we got our Amogus. But Weavile is still incredibly strong. It helps patch up some of our speed tiers, gives us priority, gives us a dark type, gives us an extremely strong, another extremely strong physical attacker. I got Trickle Axle, got Knockoff, and it's just really strong. Weavile also a Pokemon that in general I really like. I can't stress that enough. And yeah, mine will always be shiny. I don't know why I didn't even put it shiny in here. I don't know. I just love shiny Weavile. So, but yeah, I'm fine with this. I would have liked to have Scolipede more. Don't get me wrong, but I am fine with having Weavile. Weavile is by far not a bad choice, and I'm fine with that. So yeah, Weavile, great pickup, 180 points. Was a little bit expensive, but it was worth it, I think, in the end. And then, of course, my wheel pick. Next up, I picked up Aromatisse, which is another Pokemon that I was amazed made it back down to me, because Aromatisse really was like the only good worthwhile fairy at that point in the draft. At least in the low tiers. Like Clef was still somehow hanging around, but Aromatisse is pretty good. It gives us another Trick Room setter, so we have 3 Mons that can set up Trick Room, which is really good. We got Calm Mind, got Nasty Plot, gets decent coverage as well. It gets like Thunderbolt, and I think it gets Mystical Fire. And of course, it's a Wish Passer, so it's not the fattest Wish Passer. I think it only has like 95 HP or something like that, so it's not like super fat, so the wishes aren't going to be healing up as much, but that's okay, because like we have Regenerator Mons, and like we have Roost on Vikavolt, so like the things that we're going to be wish passing into is going to be like our Gigalith, or like our Chandelure, or maybe our Excadrill, which all of them have mediocre HP already anyway, so that's fine. Yeah, Aromatisse, really good fairy type for the value, and I'm honestly was amazed that it made it that way all the way down to me. So yeah, Aromatisse, awesome Pokemon. I'm fine with it. It also gives us, of course, a fairy, and I think that if there's 3 types that you always want to pick up in draft, it is a fairy, a steel, and a dark. And I know that's not really a core or anything like that, but I feel like you need a fairy, you need a steel, and you need a dark. And you need those types to try to function as those types best do, But yeah, anyway, so yeah, another 22 picks, up and down we go, and it's back to me, and now I want to try to patch up some of my speed tiers. So we have Excadrill, which is extremely fast in sand. We have Weavile, which is really fast at 125 base speed, but then we don't really have a lot after that. We have like Chandelure at base 80, which is kind of like whatever. So we have this really big speed gap right there, and I don't really like that. I don't usually like having those big speed gaps. Now, so we could have picked up some other mons to try to fill in that speed gap a little bit better. It's maybe something around the 90s or so, or 100s. But we ended up picking up a 110 base speed in Tauros. So Tauros was sitting around in the E tier. I needed E tier anyway. It also gives me a normal type, which is also a really good type to have. But 110 base, or 110 base speed is a pretty decent speed tier. It's enough to be under the Weavile, and could be potentially enough to force better prep from our opponents to, run more speed than they normally would have to. It's speed tiers are pretty important in draft, of course. So, but yeah, Tauros, it got Throat Chop this gen. Of course, it still has Sheer Force, so it can run all kinds of things. And, it's just a good mon. It gets Intimidate as well, which is pretty cool. We do have Urshifus running around, so we could potentially run Anger Point. I don't think I would, but it's an option, I suppose. So yeah, but yeah, Tauros, pretty cool option. I was pretty happy with it in the E tier, because I mean, there really wasn't a lot else left at that point for me, so I was fine with this pickup. All right, next up though, we have to get an F tier. F tier was, like I said, a bunch of NFEs and stuff like that. So we needed to get something done in the F, and so I posted the list in the chat, and I'm like, somebody pick something halfway usable for me, and I think it was it Camel? Somebody came back to me and said, get a Machoke. I'm like, sure, why not? So it also gives me a fighting type, which is also another pretty useful mon in draft. It gives me Bullet Punch, which is pretty cool. It gives me a little bit extra priority. It can run Eviolite, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's a decent little mon. Also a status absorber, which is pretty important. So we can relatively safely come in on Scalds and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm fine with Machoke as my F tier. It's probably not going to make much of an appearance. Like I said, I wasn't really a fan of being forced to pick an F tier, but at least I got a usable one, so I'm okay with it. So alright, so last pick of the draft, it goes up and down one last time. I am the last pick of the draft. Now, I know that I am going to be changing things up with my free agent transaction, and I am going to have to burn an extra one, because of course I did get sniped for my A, like I said. So we have to end up picking up a Moongus that also freed up 20 extra points, so that means that we can get an extra E tier. So one thing that I am missing on the team is I am missing a defogger, and I really wanted to grab defog, and because I do have the best spinner in the game, of course, with Excadrill, which is awesome, but that's not always good enough. We need to have a good, or half-decent defogger. So there was a couple options down there. We had Rotom Fan, we had like Emolga, Swoobat. I looked at Unfezant for a little bit because it also was a decent speed tier that helped patch things up, but that did get kind of like mini sniped for me. But I did see something that I kind of liked, and also has okay-ish speed, and we picked up Noctowl. So Noctowl is pretty cool. Has Tinted Lens Hurricane, which is pretty cool, pretty awesome. Gives us defog, gives us U-turn. It's a good little value mon, and another normal type when Tauros can't really make it out that week or something. So yeah, it's not going to be a world breaker, but I kind of like Noctowl. It's a pretty cool Pokemon, it was shiny in the anime, so there was that. Yeah, overall though, I'm fine with this Noctowl pick to end this thing off. Also, by the way, because I knew my last pick wasn't gonna mean literally anything, because I was gonna immediately swap it out for Noctowl, I actually ended up picking Eevee, which was kind of funny because that raised a couple eyebrows, but whatever. So anyway, that is it though. That is your Charlotte Chandelures team for season 7 here of the League of an Extraordinary Trainer. So this draft went pretty dang well. Like I said, my A tier did get sniped, so unfortunately I do have to make some emergency transactions to fix up some of the weaknesses on my team. But that's okay. I think we have an amazingly strong draft. We have Excadrill with Sand. We have a strong Regenerator Core. We have Trick Room options. We have decent speed tiers. We got a good Dark type. We got a usable F tier. We got Defog. We got a Fairy. We got of course our lovely Chandelure. And honestly, can you ask for too much more than that? We have Chandelure, and Chandelure is just like the best. So yeah, I'm super happy with this draft, actually, honestly, in retrospect, and I'm very interested in getting this thing going. So anyway, that is going to be it for today though, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and be sure to look out for next week, where we're probably going to be doing a full league analysis. We're going to be looking at every team in the league, and hopefully we can get that done relatively soon. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. Deuces.